Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. We're going to be having ourselves a Terran versus Protoss on the map Stasis, or Protoss versus Terran, whatever way you look at it. Whatever team you're batting for, but spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, it's the Russian Protoss. It's Rail for playing for Team Gera. I'm not exactly sure how that one's pronounced. But spawning up the top right-hand side of the map, it's Root SuperNova. So this is going to be my first time casting Rail, which is something I'm very excited for because he's a Protoss player. I've watched him in the past, but never got to cast him, and I'm excited for that because basically he's a very good player. He's someone that you always have to look out for as far as results go in tournaments and whatnot. He sometimes looks incredibly solid. And then of course his opponent on the other side, SuperNova. I've cast him a ton, there's no doubt about that. I can't lie about that. So yeah, it should be a great Terran versus Protoss here. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to cast this is because it's not often that you get to see something like a Russia versus Korea, just because of geographical distances and whatnot. But yeah, so I'm not even sure what server this game was played on, but it should be a good one. Always worth checking out. Now, I also wanted to cast a SuperNova game, guys, because as you may know if you're not new to the channel, I do a fair few show matches that I organize and live stream on Twitch. And tomorrow, Friday, we're going to be having a show match. It's going to be SuperNova versus Cham. It'll be a best of 9, so that should be a fantastic one. Cham the Mexican Zerg, for those of you that don't know, so there's my bit of an early game plug while things are just heating up this game. As far as the builds go, very standard coming out of both these guys. Stasis, it's not a crazy rush map, really. As, while yes, there's, say, positions that could be very good for siege tanks to use, the air blockers really limit where your opponent can go for air harassment. The watchtowers really do indicate, sorta, they'll let you know if, like, a big push is coming on. So, while there is certain plays that can be made on this map, it is a relatively passive map, all things considered. As long as there's not something like Proxy Tempest going down, but I don't know if we'll see that this time. But SuperNova coming in with his Reaper to start things off. Rail has an Adept that's just popped out. Gonna be shading after that Reaper. We'll see if he's able to get it. I mean, he may... Yeah, this Adept's gonna shade on. That's at least one more shot. Probes try and go for this around, but Reaper, SuperNova is so lucky there. Actually manages to escape on out. A Sentry about to pop out, but not in time to finish off that Reaper. So SuperNova's Reaper gets out, which is always nice since he can use that later. But okay. If we look at the production tab here, SuperNova going for an Armory. I'm not going to try and say this is normal. I'm not sure if I mentioned before, SuperNova, one of those Terran players who can be a little bit more unorthodox, liking his mech play, things like that. So that's definitely interesting to see what he'll do. I mean, Armories, I think they're for quick Widowmine drops, right? Because unless you're building a Thor, I don't think there's really any other reason why you'd need an Armory. Maybe like a +1 or something like that. But with Terrans and their love for Widowmine drops versus Protoss, if I had to make a bet that SuperNova would likely go into that, because you don't need an Armory to get Magfield Accelerator, if I'm correct. So there's really no other reason to get that Armory out. Now, the first Cyclone pops out. We'll see if SuperNova builds another or, say, starts building mines. But he actually goes for a tank. Okay. And that Armory is done, though. So we'll see what it's going to be used for. And there we go. It is indeed that Drilling Claws on the way. Scouting Phoenix for Rail flies on in, though. Gets full confirmation on everything, really. So he's going to know that this will be a quick Drilling Claws. And Rail, he went for a 3-gate opening, which is definitely interesting. Reaper comes on in, scouts this out. But he's got a Robo and a Twilight now on the way. And I mean, you definitely need a Robo in order to be able to detect those mines, because once they have the Drilling Claws, they're invisible. Good pullback by Rail, by the way, to keep that probe alive from that Reaper. Will the Reaper finally go down? Is it going to escape? No. Oh my gosh. Rail even force fields, but that Reaper... Okay, there we go. His days are numbered, right? No. Oh man, that guy. He had some sick dukes till the very end. But we are seeing Drilling Claws on the way. A Starport going to finish up. SuperNova, how many mines does he have? This is his first mine popping, so he'll maybe have 2 for this drop, but actually a little supply block. It's going to end right now, so SuperNova, he will be able to go for a mine drop or something like that. Who knows? Maybe he'll go for something crazy like a mine tank push. Like bring all the Marines he's constantly been producing and then say move in with the mines, they'll bite out a little bit of the Protoss, but as far as Rail, he's getting up 3 more gateways, getting up charge. I honestly expected him to go the Blink route because Blink is very good at shutting down drops, which generally are coming your way with Drilling Claws, but no, Rail just says charge lots, man. And that's what he's going to be going for, charge lots indeed. He's got up just this handful of gateway units, getting up an Immortal, and then charge. So maybe he's going to be trying to hit a quick timing or something versus SuperNova, who's now moving out with this Medivac. Going to be looking for some Widowmine drops. The 3rd base is on the way for Rail, but I mean, I don't mind SuperNova Widowmine dropping in this position. And oh, look at this, guys. Is this like a new thing, or is this a bug or something? Look at this. I can see all the individual units for this. These are the hotkeys for SuperNova. This is really interesting. Just by selecting one of his units, does it do that when I select Rail? Oh yeah, it does. I've never seen that before. That's really interesting. I wonder if that's a setting or something. But oh, okay, that's really cool. Now, SuperNova actually came around with this. Oh my god. I didn't even get a chance to hype it up because it happened so quickly. But those mine drops killing off around 9 probes. Very nice for those Widow Mines. Another Observer being chrono boosted to deal with that. But SuperNova going for another Widow Mine drop. Doesn't get any probes really with that one, but still pulling Rail apart. These mines are going to recharge. A Widow Mine or an Observer will be out, so it's like these mines will get cleaned up. But the nice thing about Drilling Clawed mines is you can just continuously drop and drop and drop. And behind this, SuperNova getting up, not just going with the 1 armory, but getting up a 2nd. Factory's on the way, so he is going to be playing this mech style, and he's got a 3rd base already on the way. So just trying to hurt the economy of Rail. And so far he's done a decent job of that. 9 probes, nothing crazy. 10 have died in total, but here comes in another mine drop. There goes one, actually goes into the refinery, but gets a few more shots off, keeping that worker count down. 17 workers have died in total. And yeah, Rail just taking a bit of a beating. The fact that he went charge really is my main concern for him. Like, if he opened up Blink, he might have had an easier time dealing with follow-up drops or something like that. He is on 3 bases though, but so is SuperNova, just doing a good job macroing up behind this. SuperNova still producing a few mines here and there. I mean, mine drops are always good in StarCraft 2, guys, particularly with Drilling Claws. Like, even if there's a cannon in the mineral line or something, the mines can still always get their shots off. So Drilling Claws, an awesome upgrade, and it's great we're seeing SuperNova use this. And he's got himself a pretty decent lead at this point. And the fact that he's making mech with a nice lead, you really need a nice lead to make mech work versus Protoss, debatably. Because when you are playing those more unorthodox styles, like say, I could go on some like weird rant here, but of course having a lead in the game is something that's very important, and mech can have certain weaknesses, so having a lead that'll sort of give you a bit of leeway here and there is definitely nice for SuperNova. Rail, on the other hand, though, trying to rebuild up his workers. He's lost 22 to 10 Widow Mines and 2 Medivacs that have gone down. There's still no Blink for him even just to chase these down, but SuperNova, the mines really are just icing on top of the cake at this point. A few of them are going to hit these Zealots. Oh, and the Warp Prism actually goes down. That's actually so huge for SuperNova. Rail was trying to do some micro there, but unfortunately not for him. That did not work out. Now SuperNova could be a little bit vulnerable here, as he is tacking up into this higher supply mech army, and tanks do build slowly, but he's got some Marines, he's got some mines, which will definitely help out. Rail losing the Warp Prism is absolutely huge, because if there was another round or two of Zealots here, this could make things a lot more worrisome for SuperNova. However, they still are very concerning. Zealots moving forward, the Liberators and tanks do a good job dispatching them, and suddenly without anything else to reinforce, Rail could be having a hard time making this attack succeed. SuperNova is getting up a 4th base, but he actually opted to build it lower to the south because his standard 4th would be vulnerable. SuperNova saying, no, 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 I'll just hide this base. And that's very nice for him. Now, another Warp Prism coming in for Rail. We'll see how this is going to help him out, whether he can warp in another big round of Zealots and maybe go for it. But just 3 Zealots coming in. And SuperNova, he's not as vulnerable as he used to be. The Liberators are now set up a ton of tanks, and he's even getting up this wall. Walls are very important if you're a Terran playing mech. I do like what Rail has done behind this, though. He's getting up a gold base, that 4th for him. SuperNova's economy is still pretty darn decent at this point. But Rail at least going to be having that bit of a surge from the gold base. However, trying to beat this mech army could be tough for him. Attacking into a meching Terran is really one of the hard points of defeating mech. Like, the composition, when say moving out, you can sort of stall them, you can force the tanks to siege and whatnot, but when the tanks are sieged just already defensively, that's where it becomes very, very tough for the Protoss player, trying to break SuperNova. Now, SuperNova getting out Liberators, already transitioning into battle cruisers. Okay, I was wondering if we'd see this. Currently, he's getting up 2 more starports, and he's already got 3, so he's going to be going up to 5 starport battle cruiser production. And, I mean, BCs, they're not terrible versus Protoss. It's debatable whether they're good or not, but someone like SuperNova can definitely make them work. He's now getting Liberators set up to really expand his position here. Looking for a 5th base. Keep in mind his 4th is this hidden orbital command here. But he is going to be looking for this base, whereas Rail's still just only on 4 of his own bases. SuperNova even has a Widow Mine buried here, but I don't think Rail has seen it. Now, SuperNova's got a ton of Liberators set up, ton of mines. Rail's actually stepping forward. This is a lot of Widow Mines here. Some of them are going off, but no, he's actually just deciding to break this position. Liberator's putting out a lot of damage, but there is a lot of Protoss right now, and SuperNova maybe didn't have enough there at that front as Rail just manages to crash on through, takes out that base, and kills it. That's very nice, and he did it without taking too significant of losses. SuperNova's been investing a lot in these battle cruisers, not into, say, a ton of extra tanks or anything like that, and Rail confidently stepping forward, taking that base. Maybe going to be looking for the other one now. We'll see how long this hidden base here is going to stay a secret. SuperNova having that bit of extra gas income, that base that he can mule freely, is definitely nice for him. He's not going to be feeling the timer as much as you'd think with a hidden base like this. SuperNova, though, with a high mineral surplus, getting up 3 more command centers, will be able to fly one over eventually. For now, though, just with all these Liberators and everything getting set up, he's in a pretty good spot, defensively anyway. Now, Rail just sticking to this ground unit production, getting up +3 weapons, but no, he's actually just going for a fight right now, working away on the Liberators, but they're dealing out so much damage. The Archons are tanky, but trying to break this spot is very tough. However, Rail's army really is crashing through still. Stalkers are linking forward, but there are tanks in position to try and deal with this army. The one battle cruiser here doing a lot of heavy lifting, another one comes on in. There's just not enough anti-air for Rail, it looks like, though. So SuperNova is going to be able to hold on, and Rail threw away a lot of supply into that attack. He was really banking on that ground attack, getting a lot done. And of course, he traded out with a lot of SuperNova's units, but SuperNova is the player who wants to survive here. He's losing a fair few SCVs to those Zealots and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, yeah, he lost a command center, but SuperNova is another one he can try and secure. And the main thing is the battle cruiser production. SuperNova, he's going to be having 3-1 battle cruisers as he's really got a lot of these ship weapons. So his army is not going to be bad, but okay, this is fantastic for Rail. He's found the command center down to the bottom right here. That hidden base for SuperNova, mined a little bit, but nothing too major. So SuperNova, he's suddenly going to be in a bit of a worrisome spot. That hidden base really was his sort of lifeline, just to sit staying back comfortably. Now he's really going to be forced out to try and do something. SuperNova is getting up Infernal Pre-Igniters and Hellbats, which I definitely like here, but that doesn't change the fact that he's mining out of his bases, whereas Rail, while he hasn't been rushing a crazy strong economy and he's been committing to these attacks, he's still got up a pretty good economy behind this. He's got this gold base, giving him a good mineral income, then he's even securing another base down to the bottom here, so going to be at 5 bases. SuperNova's flying in with these battle cruisers. We'll see what he can get done. These +2 BCs, soon to be +3, doing good work for now, but with some Stalkers warping in with Blink, I'm not sure how much they'll be able to get done. And SuperNova actually teleports these battle cruisers back as Rail's just going for it. But with 4 BCs here, I think SuperNova should be fine. Yeah, and those BCs, they do teleport back, so letting us know that that fight's happening. SuperNova is now going to be looking to secure his 4th base. Yamato Cannon goes down on the Warp Prism. Getting that once again is nice, and securing this 4th is so important for him. He's already transferring these SCVs, maybe looking to repair these BCs, setting up turrets. He knows that he needs to have an income. As long as a Terran really has a fresh base that they can mule off, they're never really out of it. But if you're starting to mine out, dropping the mules, you burn through that base really quickly. So SuperNova getting up this 4th base is astronomically important for him. And Rail's stepping forward, but he lost his Warp Prism, so I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to get done here with the Liberators, with the Battle Cruisers. I'm not sure these Stalkers are up to the task. SuperNova also has been steadily rising in that Battle Cruiser count, and while Battle Cruisers could be argued not to be the best versus Protoss, they definitely don't have a problem dealing with, say, ground units usually. So these +3 BCs, as long as they're microed correctly by SuperNova, he should be able to get some good value out of them. He's got this base as a planetary now. He can start repairing that refinery, get that gas income up, drop mules on this base, so that's so important for him. And all while this is happening, the battlecruiser count is rising. SuperNova, he's had sort of stutters in his production, so it's not like he's got a tremendous count of battlecruisers, but he's still got up a good amount. Rail, as a result, has been forced to make a lot of stalkers, which are pretty much the best ground-based anti-battlecruiser unit that Protoss can make. I mean, there's really... Wait a second. Okay, other than sentries, there's no other Protoss ground units that shoot up, so there's... Well, there's Archons as well, I guess. Okay, never mind. But, regardless, what I'm saying here is, stalkers, while you need them to deal with the battlecruisers, they're not the best at dealing with the rest of the army. Breaking a planetary, not the best. Tanks, liberators, I mean... They're sort of a necessity, but that doesn't mean they do a fantastic job at it. Rail now staying around. He knows that he's got to be very careful when engaging with this army. For now, the SuperNova is coming in with these battlecruisers. He's going to be looking to harass. Some stalkers are warped in, but look at this. SuperNova just Yamato cannons. Every single one of them, as I say that, they blink away. But no, this base is going to be under fire. These +3 battlecruisers do good work versus the economy of Rail right now. SuperNova with these BCs. We'll see. Look at that. They just deal so much damage to these just +1 stalkers. SuperNova also getting his +3, even getting his ground upgrades now, so his tanks will be better. He's securing up this 5th base once again. One thing that I really do like that Rail is doing is that he's taking the center base. He doesn't have anywhere else to expand to as well, but this is also sort of like the contestant base. Like, if it does come down to a longer game of efficiency, having the 1 extra base on Stasis is so important, because your opponent will mine out before you. They'll have less money to spend overall, and as a result, you can trade out less efficiently. This base also being found by Rail is very nice. That's a force cancel. But yeah, Rail taking this base in the center is very important, because if we look at the resources lost, SuperNova is ahead by about 5,000, and that's no small amount. Once again, though, Rail's stepping forward into a ton of Liberators right now, focusing them down. Battlecruisers are overhead, though, and these battlecruisers are really tearing through these stalkers right now. One of the BCs gets focused down. SuperNova's got to be careful. He doesn't actually teleport out those 2 injured ones, so he loses 2 battlecruisers. The base is forced off. And Rail able to break SuperNova once again. Finding a nice bit of damage. He denied this base. He denied the 5th. He denied the gold, so SuperNova's still just really on these 4 bases. This base here is so important. If he loses this, it's game over. But Rail may have a tough time breaking this. It's a planetary. The BCs can always be repaired by the SCVs. Another command center goes down, though. That's a nice find. That really equals up the, or really helps equal up the resources loss count. And Rail, I mean, since he's mining off this base here, he doesn't even need to be the most efficient player in the world. He's now even getting up a Stargate. Tempest really are the hard counter to battlecruisers. Void Ray is not bad as well, but as far as trading out, Tempest really do the job well, because they can shoot those BCs from a long distance. They can force a fight. SuperNova, he's a player who uses a lot of battlecruisers, though. He really knows what he's doing with them, and he definitely knows that battlecruisers, you can't just turtle back, because eventually your Protoss opponent will make the Tempest, which will dismantle you. So he's moving out with his BCs for now, looking for a base. If he finds this base in the center, that would be nice. But we'll see whether Rail commits on in or something like this. Would a mine gonna kill off his stalker there. A few more mines getting burrowed, and there we go. These BCs, do they see this? They might have caught a glimpse of a probe, but that doesn't mean they're going to be moving in. Rail's still just lurking around for now. And SuperNova still just on 4 bases, whereas Rail, he's pretty much got the best economy that he can get. And from there, he's just got to think about, how am I going to dismantle SuperNova? He's going into a Stargate. He's getting up another Stargate. +1 ship left for shields, which will help out. SuperNova's harassing this base, so recall's being forced. How many stalkers are going to be recalled here? Mass Yamato Cannon actually going to try and pick off that Nexus, but guys, Yamato Cannon got nerfed a little bit, so he's not doing the job there. Now, SuperNova is moving out with more battlecruisers to harass, but Rail not losing that base is pretty darn nice for him. And okay, Stargates are getting up for Rail. This is where it could become very worrisome for SuperNova in the next few minutes as those Tempests start to build, which I imagine what Rail is going to make. But for now, SuperNova doing a good job harassing in multiple places. These BCs flying in, trading out with some cannons for now. It looks like a single Stalker warped in. He's got a lot of work to do. Rail's recall is on cooldown, so he's actually just going to decide to counterattack instead of going home. But this is a very strong position for SuperNova. A lot of tanks on location. This planetary needs to be repaired. Some of the battle cruisers are being volleyed down, but just one of them dies, and actually Rail losing a ton of units there. The battle cruisers are in his main base as well, dealing a lot of damage. Some more stalkers have been warped in, but battle cruisers do pretty well versus stalkers, particularly when they've got that upgrade advantage. And if SuperNova unpowers his pylon, that would be absolutely huge for him, prevent any more stalker warp-ins, as Rail lost a lot of his army here. This is actually becoming very concerning for the Protoss player. A battle cruiser gets weakened, but then they just teleport out, as they usually do. SuperNova, he's continuing on with this harassment. BCs, their mobility is one of their strongest tools at this point. They're going to be flying in. He probably wants to finish off this injured Nexus, and while Rail's got himself a pretty good bank, it's nothing too phenomenal. Now, these BCs, will they spot this base? SuperNova, does he see it? Is he paying attention to the BCs? He sees the probes, but does he? There we go. He turns them around, so now he's going to begin working away on those probes. And this was one of the things that Rail really had going for him, but if he loses that, suddenly this game becomes very worrisome. SuperNova being out on the map constantly as well allowed him to secure this base. Flies over actually an orbital command. And for now, though, just flying out with these. Looks like another battle cruiser was forced to teleport back home. These BCs are harassing, but they say, all right, we'll just teleport back. If we look at the unit count in the army supply, SuperNova is definitely ahead. Currently at 7 BCs. A ton of Liberators, by the way, to help on out. SuperNova really liking them. And now adding a Raven, which can help him out. But, no, I don't mind SuperNova's position at this point. The fact that he did a bit of damage to this base, killed off some of the probes, is nice, but Rail still is mining off it. SuperNova's being much, much more efficient. Rail has lost about 12,000 or 14,000 resources lost more than SuperNova, so he really does need to secure this base and ideally mine it out, as SuperNova is just being so efficient resources lost-wise. That will likely, however, be corrected, though, as Tempests start to come on out. Is there any Psystorm out? There's no Psystorm. But Tempests supported by High Templar are very good because they can force a commitment from something like Vikings onto the Tempest, and that's where the Psystorm really excels. But SuperNova might not just give Rail the time. He's flying in with his BCs now. Rail's maxed out, but 6 BCs in your base really does force some kind of response. Looks like a Stargate's going to be going down. Poor Warp Prism for Rail once again goes down. A few Tempests are flying in to try and deal with this. They deal a lot of damage to the battle cruisers, but they still are only +1 Tempest. There we go. SuperNova just teleports the injured ones out. And these BCs, they're just happily flying over here. Rail, he just does damage to them, but then SuperNova just simply teleports on out. This is exactly how you want to use the battle cruisers, pulling Rail out of position. Templar Archives almost gets focused down, but in the end, SuperNova does have to teleport out, but still taking a nice trade there, doing a good bit of harassment. Looks like a Liberator that's been harassing Rail here on this base will get cleaned on up. And he can go back to mining. But keep in mind, Rail, he secured a lot more bases earlier than SuperNova, so his economy will run out faster, and once again, that's why this base is so important. But okay, look at this. Rail just says, no, you know what? I'm going to take your base to the right here. I'm not sure if he'll be able to properly mine off it, but if SuperNova doesn't know about this, this will be nice for him. But oh, look at this. SuperNova, he's going to be setting up a lot of turrets here, just knowing that he wants to be able to stall the Tempest. Rail, though, he's coming in with all this Stalker, with all these Tempests. We'll see what he's able to get done. He's going to be at that point in which he can really just volley down units, and as a result, force a response from SuperNova. The battle cruisers, their strength is from their mobility. The Tempest strength is from their range, their ability to force an engagement. It's how they're so critical in the Protoss army. SuperNova, he's going to be losing units here and there to these Tempests until he's eventually forced to possibly take an engagement into this army. Rail knows he has this mobility, and he's stepping forward, going very far forward, actually, but SuperNova, he's got to deal with this somehow, as battle cruisers were busy killing off this Nexus of Rail that didn't exactly get to mine off a lot, but Rail has found himself a pretty good position right now. Assuming he can take a fight versus this army, we may just see SuperNova try and dive on top of the Protoss player, and it looks like that may be what he's doing. Anti-armor missiles are going down, Liberators are stepping forward, trying to deal with the Tempest, and there we go, there's the battle cruisers teleporting in, and suddenly Rail is running with his tail between his legs. Tempest accidentally misfire on the command center there, and it looks like SuperNova may just have absolutely destroyed the army of Rail. A few more Stalkers coming in, but there's just so much, and GG, SuperNova takes it with battle cruisers, takes it with MECH. Rail just could not crack SuperNova. All right. what a fantastic game. Always awesome to see. So battle cruisers and mech, it can definitely work versus Protoss. But someone like SuperNova is very well versed in that style of play. Rail maybe hasn't played versus a Terran who's played like that as often as SuperNova plays versus Protoss like that. So yeah, if you guys do enjoy this content, feel free to leave a like. And if you are new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe, as I'm always going to be putting out more videos. My goal is to hit 1,400 subs. We're not far away from that. So feel free to hit that button. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. And make sure to check out the show match tomorrow if you are watching this before Friday, as that's on 6 p.m. on my Twitch. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.